What if I told you, the Stations of the Cross you pray today might not be the way one of the greatest saints actually lived it? And what if I told you, there was a man who didn't just meditate on Christ's suffering, but physically carried it in his own body, not symbolically, not spiritually alone, physically. And what happened to him will completely change how you see the cross forever. Stay with me because this story only gets deeper. Every Lent, millions of Catholics pray the Stations of the Cross. We move from one station to another, remembering Jesus' suffering, his fall, his pain, his death. But here's the question most people never ask: where did this devotion actually come from? And more importantly, did the saints experience it the same way we do today? Because one saint didn't just pray the Stations, he entered them. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why the cross is not just something we remember, it's something we are invited to live. Let's go back, far back, the early 1200s, a time when the Holy Land was dangerous, unpredictable, and nearly unreachable for most Christians. Pilgrimages to Jerusalem, the very place where Jesus suffered, were rare, expensive, sometimes deadly. And yet, the desire never died. Christians longed to walk where Jesus walked, to see what he saw, to feel what he felt, but most never could. So the question began to grow: if you cannot go to Jerusalem, can Jerusalem come to you? That question would change everything. And at the center of it was a man no one expected. His name was Francis. Before holiness, he chased glory. Before poverty, he lived in wealth. Before the cross, he avoided suffering. But everything changed. After his conversion, Francis became obsessed not with success, but with Christ crucified. Not just Christ the King, but Christ in pain. People noticed something strange about him. He would suddenly go silent when speaking about the Passion. His eyes would fill with tears. Sometimes, he would weep uncontrollably. Why? Because to Francis, the cross was not history. It was happening right now. But something even more shocking was about to happen. Something no Christian had ever experienced before. A journey that changed everything. In 1219, Francis did something unthinkable. He crossed battle lines during the Crusades. No weapon, no armor, just faith. He went to the Holy Land. He walked the ground where Jesus walked. He stood where Christ suffered. And that experience marked him forever. But here's the problem. Francis could go. Most people couldn't. So what do you do when the most important spiritual journey in the world is out of reach? Francis found an answer. Back in Assisi, Francis began something new. Quietly, almost secretly, he would walk through nature, stopping at certain points, pausing, reflecting, weeping. At one point, he would kneel. At another, he would fall. He wasn't just remembering the Passion. He was recreating it, living it, step by step, moment by moment. This was not structured prayer, no fixed number of stations, no standard format, just raw, burning love. Suspense built, and then everything changed. The moment that shook history. In 1224, on a quiet mountain called La Verna, Francis went into deep prayer, fasting, alone, completely surrendered. Then suddenly, a vision appeared, a seraph, a heavenly being, but not as you'd expect. This angel was crucified, suspended in suffering, radiating both pain and glory. Francis stared, frozen, overwhelmed. And in that moment, something impossible happened. The wounds of Christ appeared on his body, his hands pierced, his feet pierced, his side wounded. He was bleeding. This was not a vision anymore. This was real. Francis had received the stigmata. But why would God allow this? Why would a man be marked like Christ himself, living the Stations literally? From that moment on, Francis didn't just pray the Passion. He carried it. Every step hurt. Every movement reminded him. Every breath was united with Christ. He had become a living Stations of the Cross. And when people saw him, they didn't just see a man. They saw a reflection of Jesus crucified. How this changed the church forever. After Francis' death, his followers, the Franciscans, spread across the world. And they carried something with them. His love for the Passion. His way of walking with Christ. Eventually, they were entrusted with caring for the holy places in Jerusalem. And from there, they began to guide pilgrims, step by step, station by station. What Francis lived in spirit became a structured devotion. The Stations of the Cross, as we know them today, were born. But this isn't just history. This is theology. Jesus said, Take up your cross daily and follow me, not once, daily. The Stations of the Cross are not just about watching Jesus suffer, they are about walking with him. The church teaches that Christ's suffering redeemed the world, but here's the deeper truth. We are invited to unite our suffering with his. That's what Francis understood. Pain is not meaningless. When united with Christ, it becomes powerful, transformative, even holy. Think about your life, the struggles you carry, the silent battles, the moments you feel like giving up. Now imagine this. What if those moments are your stations, your fall, your burden, your cross? Francis teaches us something radical. You don't need to escape suffering to find God. You can meet him inside it. Today, the world tells us, avoid pain, escape discomfort, chase ease. But the cross tells a different story. It says, love requires sacrifice, healing sometimes hurts, and grace often meets us at our lowest point. That's why the Stations of the Cross still matter, not just in church, but in your daily life. Somewhere, on that quiet mountain, Francis lay wounded, weak, but filled with peace, because he had discovered something most people never will. The cross is not the end, it is the doorway to love. And now the question is not just about Francis, it's about you. Will you walk the path, or turn away from it? If this story touched you, don't just move on. Take one moment today. Pray just one station, slowly, deeply. Let it speak to your life. And I want to hear from you. Which moment of Christ's suffering do you feel closest to right now? Have you ever found meaning in your pain? Drop it in the comments. And if you're searching for deeper faith, real stories, and encounters with God that stay with you, subscribe now, because this journey is far from over.